Today, let's talk about licensing your trademark. What's that mean? Well, if you don't know what trademark means, definitely check out my other videos because we don't have time to explain it here. What we'll talk about here is how to actually monetize licensing your trademark. So, the easy example is always Nike is a trademark, their swoosh, Just Do It, all of those are trademarks. And they can license the use of those trademarks to make money. So if you have a brand and people like it, it's a strong brand, especially if it's going to be related to products and maybe you're going to do like a co-product with someone, all of that would entail some licensing of your trademark. And there are a lot of different ways to license your trademark. There are a lot of different ways to monetize that license of your trademark. And so let's cover a few of those. So first and foremost, with a license, you're really able to put parameters on that license to this other party. So let's just say 5 Minute Lawyer is going to license you the right to use the brand 5 Minute Lawyer, which probably don't want to do that. That sounds totally uninteresting. So in your mind, think of some sexier brand that makes more sense to you. So when I want to license 5 Minute Lawyer to you, I'm going to have to determine a few things. Do I want you to use it in the whole world? In the whole universe? In just one state? Maybe in just one country? Those are all geographic parameters that you can set. What about how long is the license for? 1 month? 2 years? Until the end of time? Those are another parameter that you need to set. And then what exactly am I licensing? Am I only licensing 5 Minute Lawyer's logo? Or am I licensing the word mark, so the actual words 5 Minute Lawyer? Both? Maybe I'm licensing a slogan. Those are other things that you need to consider. How they'll be used, what color, sort of what format. Do you need to give them guidelines, sort of like a code of conduct? I know I don't want 5 Minute Lawyer being used on some sort of nefarious kind of 8chan thing out there. Not for me. Don't want that happening. I would need to put some parameters in my license that says you can't use it for these types of things. Hopefully you've had enough conversation with whoever your licensee will be that you know what they're going to use it for, but it doesn't hurt to put that in your license. And part of why I'm laying these all out is to sort of illustrate that anytime you have an agreement with someone, which a trademark license is just an agreement, that agreement is your own personal legislation between those two parties. So you have to make sure that however you want this license to be, it is. And so you put those into your trademark license. Now, another thing that's probably really important to consider that I think people don't think of very often, or maybe they sort of agonize over because it seems so daunting to figure out, is the pricing of that license, right? Is it a flat fee? Is it royalties? Is it monthly, quarterly? How do you figure that out? That's something that's very fact specific and also should be specific to your own finances and sort of what you might need. So if you're gonna maybe do a joint branded product with someone and they're putting your slogan on it and all the packaging and the hang tag, and you expect that product to sell really well, maybe you should do royalties. Maybe it should be a percentage of those sales. And maybe they do quarterly accounting. So quarterlies as early as you can then get those numbers and get your payments. These are the types of things that go into your trademark license and are really important. Remember, this will dictate how your brand is used out in the public that you have less control over than when you're using your brand. Of course, you can put that code of conduct in there and you have those ways of setting those parameters. But at the end of the day, this is somebody using your brand out there in the wild. Not to mention, think about some stuff that can go into your trademark license that if you don't have another agreement in place, so, for instance, let's say you just have the license in place and you don't have an agreement about shipping and fulfillment or like a joint venture agreement or really any other type of agreement covering the relationship between you and your licensee, then your trademark license is where all of those terms need to go. You need to put everything and anything in there that could cover that relationship. Let's say you're letting somebody use your brand for a super sweet event that they're throwing. Awesome. That's great exposure for you. What if someone slips and falls at that event and they saw your brand and they try to sue you? That could happen. Not trying to be scare factor here, but that can happen. So in your trademark license, you need to have a provision that talks about who's liable for things that were under their control. If you're not even present at the event and your licensee is, your licensee hopefully has insurance, but they are responsible for dealing with that slip and fall. Hard stop. and that needs to go into your trademark license agreement, because if it doesn't, it's not a hard stop, and then you're fighting with your licensee as well as the person that slipped and fell. So, trademark licenses, super important and super awesome way to monetize your dope brand. And it's very important to mention in this video, there is a very fine line between franchise and trademark license. Trademark license is typically a simple agreement just between the parties. Franchise requires state registration. Sometimes it requires bonding. It can be very, very involved, and it can be like state by state difficult and different. I have another video on franchise and what that fine line is. This video is only on how you can trademark, license your brand, make some money, and protect yourself. Hopefully it was helpful. Thanks for tuning in. Talk to you again soon.